I can't afford to.
I'm gonna go ahead and click record there.
All right, perfect. Ready to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I was talking to my younger self from my older self. This is how I took it. I felt like I need a little more. No, not necessarily a little more work, because this was my first time ever thinking that far out. I would normally think 5, 10 years, 10 years the max. Never really did like 20.
Yeah.
Because I was so caught up in time. I never knew how much time I really had to get anything done, because tomorrow, wasn't necessarily promised. So I never really thought of it that far out. So this exercise helped me, think long term, but I feel like down the line, if I was to revisit it, it'll be more detailed. It'll have more, because as I was writing, I kind of kept getting stuck on, the same things. But
okay, and just to give for anyone who's going to be watching this, just to give background on what I told Lorenzo, it was for so this past week he went back to his younger self, 0 through 28, and saw what made him become who he is today. So he went back to those memories, went back to those stories. And this week I had him go, okay, from 28 to 70, talk to the 70-year-old self, like, what does he look like? What does he do? What is his life like? So just to give you a background on what Lorenzo was talking about here. So go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I kind of tapped in. I was talking to myself because, like I said, I didn't like do any research. I just took like what Paul said, or I took what you said, Paul, and tried to make the best out of it. I didn't want to get any like second opinions from the internet or second opinions from anybody. I really wanted to see if I can talk to this older me. And I don't know. So I was like, I said, is this what life feels like? I said to my younger self, this is my older self talking. I said, thanks for taking the risk, younger me. Man, you look so good. No way you can be 70 years. Yes, younger me. It's quite true. I'm 70, but I feel like I'm 21. Younger me, you maintain great healthy habits spiritually, mentally, and physically. You weathered the storm. You beat the odds. You took heed of life's moments and learned wisdom while a young man. You sacrificed my youth. You led the way and ignored the naysayers. You channeled my temper and built this sound and light spirit that I have today. You put the good Lord first. You gave the family all that I can give. And then I kind of like changed the energy. I said, all except for time. And before you started recording, we were talking about time. Like time, I just like now at this point in my life, I just feel like I don't know how much time I have. So I try to prioritize and spend as much time on what I think will benefit, not necessarily me, but the people that depend on me, which is, my kids, my wife, and everybody. I put more focus into that than anything else. So time. So let me get back into it anyway. So I said, I said, you put the good Lord first. You gave the family all that I can give, all except for time. I said, however, there's no better time than now. I have everything that I dreamed and worked for to put the family in the best possible position in life. Time was moving at the speed of life, younger me, and I never felt like I had enough to do everything I needed to do. Now, time is behind me. So I'm 70 and time is behind me. So now time is behind me. And I know I am no longer racing the clock. All the hours I sacrificed before the age of 70 will serve me all the way into the afterlife. I said, I don't regret one bit of it because I am not living in a rush. And my transition, talking about into the afterlife, um, until my new form will be smooth. I hope, just because, I don't want to be in a rush. I don't want to feel like I didn't get enough accomplished, and then something happened to me, and that's the energy that I carry on. I just want it to be to be mellow. If that's the case, I can't tell the future, but that's what I'm saying. As 70-year-old Lorenzo, I said, now I changed the setting. Well, I'm currently in the setting when I'm talking, but I mentioned the setting. I said, while I sunbathe with my feet in the sand on this beautiful beach in Thailand. I love Thailand. If you know, my wife, kids, mom, sister, they all know I'm always saying, man, I'm going to get you all right, and I'm going to go to Thailand. I want to move to Thailand. I said, I'm going to call my son Maj and tell him, let me say, while I sunbathe with my feet in this beautiful beach of Thailand, I'm going to take the time to call my son Maj and tell him how much of an inspiration his life is to his father's, how his existence played a big role in my life, and I wouldn't have made it out, and I wouldn't have made it without him. I'll call the girls, Leah and Leah. These are my daughters, and thank them for all the love and hugs that they shared with me in the midst of this, this dog-eat-dog world. I will continue to thank my beautiful wife who sits beside me for being such a great support and backbone and team player. I will take the time to call, my children and invite my grandkids to this beautiful beach house that I have in Thailand that I'll eventually leave behind for them. I didn't mention this in the beginning of our conversation, younger me, but I am talking to you on my quarterly 7-day vacation. Soon it will be time for me to get back to work. So I'm just in my head, just talking. I'm kind of like all over the place, but I did want to, sorry y'all for stopping, but I did want to mention, like, the good health and where I'm at mentally. Yeah. I didn't want to get so caught up in that because I kind of transitioned and put that vacation in there. So I said, but I am talking to you on my quarterly 7-day vacation. Soon it will be time to get back to work. I have a massive, and now this is what's allowing me to be on that vacation. I have a massive trucking enterprise that I oversee along with several nonprofit organizations. I'll never stop working, young and me, no matter how big I get, because this is my opportunity to spread the word and share wisdom so that it can live on forever. So this is with my kids. This is with anybody that I encounter with. So those 70 years, I don't want to be selfish and just make it seem like it's about me, because it's a whole nother generation that can come in. And if I can share something with them that they can pass on, it can continue to live on forever. So this is where I see myself, or for now, this is where I see myself, like at that age, just sharing wisdom with whoever I come in, whoever I encounter with along the way, so that maybe they can, apply it to their lives. And I don't. But anyway, I said, this is my way to spread the word and share wisdom so that so that it can live on forever. And then I closed it. I end because my timer went off. I said, until we meet again, younger me, thanks for all that you learned while I was young, because it has given me something to act upon in my old age. Peace and everlasting joy. Let's talk soon. But I definitely want to revisit it. I want it to be, I will get carried away, man, and we'll really be sitting here reading all day, because it's like I'll never stop. It's so much that I want to talk about. But I had to just cut it short there. Because I felt like I would have gotten carried away, because that was like never a place that I visited before. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how I looked. I know I was in the best of shape. I know I looked young, but can't really picture how I will look older. I know so much more that I want to achieve, at that age. I don't know what it is yet. So hopefully I can figure that out within, these days, and revisit that exercise, and kind of elaborate on that foundation that I laid, or maybe even switch some things up. So,
Yeah. Okay.
uh,
Okay. And was that 10 or 15 minutes that you did on that one?
this one was about 15 minutes. I in the midst of it. It wasn't like a flow.
No,
but,
no, you're fine. And did you do that one day a week, or did you do that Monday through Friday?
Yeah, Monday through Friday. That was the best one.
Okay, perfect. But
Yeah.
you did do it 5 times though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And remember, from what I said last week, is these are tools. These are merely tools that I'm giving you that you should revisit. You should keep going back. You should do a 30-minute session if you want to do a 30-minute session, because what happens is, and this is the whole reason why we even did this exercise, is because everything is narrative. All of what we've experienced up until this point, we've had experiences, but there's narratives around them. There's stories around them, which cause us to be the way that we are today. We, like, events within themselves have no inherent meaning, which is why you can have one event happen, but have 1,000 different meanings with 1,000 different people, because an event on its own is just an event, but it's how we interpret that event can shape us, right? And so the same thing with the future. I'm trying to get you to tap into because I can tell you this, your subconscious does have a future you.
Right.
You're just right now learning to, just like it would be if you back when you were dating your wife, it's like, okay, I'm going to get to know you. It's the same thing with the future you. If you haven't spent any time with them, well, you don't know them. But inherently, you do know them, because it's the future you. It's your core desires. It's what you do see as the ideal you. The future you, your subconscious sees the future you as the ideal you. That's why you were saying, I have huge trucking enterprise. I'm in great shape. I have great relationships here. I have time. These are all ideals in your head that you're attaching to the 70-year-old self. And so the more that you can get familiar with what his life is like, the more you can build that in the present.
Right. Man. And would that kind of like lead me into right into that?
Right.
So it's like 70-year-old me is here, and I'm here, and just found, and then we just mesh, right?
That's right. And if you want to picture it like this, it's this. The work that we do looking back, it would be healing work. The work that we're going to be doing moving forward is growth work. So we look back to understand all the hurts and all the pains. We're not saying that there's not going to be hurts and pains in the future, but when you have an aligned self, we've gone through your values, we've looked at the past, and I hope you continue looking at the past. You're able to now, when different hurts come in the growth stage, you're able to now view them objectively, or as objectively as possible. Okay, I would say God is the only one who can view things like really objectively.
Right.
As objectively as possible, you are able to now view these. Because let's say a person crosses you. Let's say a person really hurts you emotionally. Whatever these things may be in the future, you're able to say, okay, this event happened. But now with the work that I know, first of all, what are my values? How am I going to respond to this? Secondly, how do I now interpret this? This hurts, and I'm going to sit with the hurt. But am I going to let it affect me like I let things affect me in the past, when I wasn't as emotionally aware of what was going on up here? And so now, the reason why we do these two different things is because now it'll help us more be more mature. I don't want to say we were immature in the past with how we dealt with things, but have more of a not hardened mindset, but let's just say reasonable mindset on how to handle the pains in the future. And so all this stage is growth, because at the end of the day, we see our ideal self. And so it's the pull towards the ideal is what we're doing in this work. Whereas what we did in the prior work was okay, let's heal. let's observe, let's see who we are now. And it almost lets you get a view on you.
Right.
And now from now on, you're able to always have like the view, the 70-year-old view is looking down 30-year-old you. So now when 30-year-old you goes through the hurt, you go, okay, 70-year-old, how does this part of my journey? This hurts a lot. I was not expecting this. How are we going through this right now?
Right.
He, you know, he's like, look, you know, let's say one of your values is like patience or whatever. It's like, look, you know, in this this is to exercise patience in you. Why am I so patient here? Look, 30 through 33, we went through this.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you're able to kind of like look at things in a different light, and the good and the bad. Now, truly, Romans 8:28 comes to life, where it's all things work together for the good of those who love them. Because now you see the trials and the blessings of your life. Not that trials are blessings, but in a way they are. And this is how I kind of view them. Blessings are blessings, right? So like, let's say God gives you like a lot of money, great marriage, whatever. Those are blessings. Trials in a material sense aren't blessings. But if you've ever noticed, they are spiritual blessings. Whereas material blessings can often be for the not spiritually mature person, a spiritual downfall. And so you have to see both have their pros and cons. Material blessings, you better watch it on the spiritual stuff. You better make sure the spiritual. Material trials, spiritual blessings. So they're both blessings, and they can both have the opposite end if we don't keep it in check. You know what I'm saying?
Man, yeah, no, for sure, man. I definitely, you mentioned that, and that was something that I mentioned in my writing. Spiritually being spiritually intact first. That's like number one with me. Any material that I get, you know, I attach spirit to it, or I think, man, how would this affect my spirit, you know, or where would this lead me? Would it knock me off? Would it take me off course? You know, would it keep me along the course? You know, because I'm telling you, man, if it's something that's not supposed to be there, the spirit will feel it. And we were going, you know, we were talking about that before, but I completely agree with you. I understand.
Yeah.
But man, yeah, I see it, man. It's opening me up, man. All these exercises these last 3 exercises that we've done, it's opened me up, man. And it's helped me a lot. I was thinking about you last night. If I can mention, I was thinking about you last night. And I don't know if we talked about this on record, but you mentioned about like how us as men, we shut down the emotional side in us. Yesterday I expressed it. I mean, not yesterday, but you know what I mean? Last week I expressed it with that, you know, with my experience coming up as a child. I really felt that attachment, and, you know, it brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
But like I didn't as of yesterday, I realized that I shut down a lot of those feelings. You know, I put like, I'm just hard towards them. I don't let them.
Yeah.
So when I do go to express myself, it takes over, man. And it's like, dude, you had this in you the whole time. But I don't know, man. Yesterday we had a blessing, you know. My wife, I was up here on a rooftop. I'm on a rooftop now. I come up here, sunbathe sometime. I'll sit in the shade or whatever like that. But I'm up here and I'm just doing some work, just thinking about everything that I went through. And my wife, she comes up and she said, dude, you must have not seen the email. Like, what are you up here doing? She said, you must have not seen the email. I said, no, I did. She showed me this email, and it was something, you know, that the Lord had granted us like right on time, you know, because those trials we were going through these trials, and we were being tested. And every night I told my wife, I said, honey, I've been here. You know, I've been here before. We've been here before. We've went without. We've done all these things before. You know, it's just a good Lord testing us just to see how we're going to respond, if we're going to stay on course. You know, a brand new car, you know, a Range Rover and everything, the air conditioner and stuff went out. She could have flipped. I could have flipped. You know, we had a spare car. Use the spare car until I can get it, you know, to the shop, find time to get it to the shop and stuff like that. Drivers, the lady that came to visit me, the insurance didn't take her, so that means no revenue generated from that truck, no new driver. The guy that I talked to you about last week that I trained, he can't go, far away from home. He's having that anxiety and sickness. He has to stay home. So that's 2 drivers. That's a test right there. All this stuff.
And that's a lot of money that could be generated from 2
yes, dude. Yes, back to back. And after a while, I felt myself having to compensate or make up for the difference. With personal, personal finances and stuff like that. Yeah. And I just was, in my talks before this, up until yesterday, I'm gonna get to the point, but up until yesterday, I will always tell, mention to the Lord, like, I'm doing this work for you. Yes, to benefit my family, but, to take care of them in your name, to benefit and help someone else's family. I'm not doing it for greed. I'm not doing it just to say I made the most money or to have this and, worship these material things. That's not the purpose. So please don't make it a burden, and don't, allow me to be a slave to any debts, or anything like that. And dude, when I tell you, right on time, I'm on the rooftop. I was watching a YouTube video and this kid was on there. He's in trucking too. And I was commenting, just letting him know everything that I've been through and letting him know that he's on the right path, just sharing that goodness with him so that he won't make the same mistakes that I made. And that's when my wife ran up, showed me the phone. She said, dude, you must have seen the email. And right on time, dude, the Lord blessed us with a huge check, man.
Wow.
A huge, yes, man. To cover everything, man. All the debts that I use from my personal, covered. Like I'm relieved of that. Like, so when this check clears, God's will, I signed and everything. So when the check clears, I'll be able to clean up that, those personal debts and everything like that. And to tie that into emotions, dude, I exploded because I don't know, when I told myself every day, man, I just hugged him, man. And I don't know, man. I'm not afraid to say, man, dude, I was going to tell you today before you start recording, but man, you've been making me cry, dude. I haven't cried in like so long, dude. I'm telling you. But it was just a good feeling. It was a good cry. It wasn't, a cry of like sorrows, just like, like confirmation, like, come on, like, right on time.
Yes.
Right on time. When I thought I would have had to go out here and slave for this just to make it work, and it's just right on time, dude. And he came right on time. And all those times that I didn't cry, that I did bottle it up, I cried, to the Lord, And I didn't cry out because I lost anything. I didn't cry because, no, I knew that as long as I stay prayed up and I kept pushing, like he'll see me through because he guides my steps, So, but when he did it and he granted me that relief, dude, I cried. But those tears were for him. But man, these exercises have made me very emotional, man. So I said all to say that, man. I hope I didn't go off track, but
no. There is no track. You're fine. You're fine. Yeah, man, I was going to say, I'm not even the one making you cry. I'm just giving you tools that allow you to look into, the depths of your heart, your subconscious, and to see what's really going on there. And you got to understand, bro, the only reason why I'm able to give them is because I've experienced them. So yes, I know they work because of what they've done for me. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is wild. Like, I've never seen this stuff before.
Right.
And so it's just really cool to hear how, that's working for you as well.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. And truly blessed to have a friend and, long-term partner like yourself, man. Let's just keep going, man, and keep unlocking, these doors and these, I don't like a treasure though, man, because you can use
Yeah.
it and share it, man. It's invaluable. But
Yes.
it's
You know, this is what I was telling. I'm gonna record a couple of videos on this as well. But this is what I was telling my friend the other day. I was like, you know what? Because we were playing ball, right? And obviously I played back in high school, and he goes, Paul, what would it have taken for you to play in college? And I was like, well, I'm a very different type of player than like now than I was in college, than I was in high school. But I was like, let's just say that I was like some superstar in high school, which I was. I was definitely like a solid, starter, but like not a
right.
superstar. Um, and I was like, you know what? Nothing. I was like, maybe to get paid, maybe some of this stuff, but I was like, I almost think there would be nothing that I could like that would have convinced me to play in college. He goes, why is that? And I said, here's why. Here's why. I said, the stuff that I want to do, yes, some of it involves, business. Yes, some involves this stuff, but I was like, it involves knowledge. I was like, I feel like I'm on a quest to bring certain pearls of wisdom, of knowledge, of understanding to be able to like give to people. And I was like, you cannot take away the time or fast track the time that it takes to read a book, to listen to lectures, to listen to, people do it. You cannot take like he goes, because he was talking about you could have a platform with basketball, like if let's say I was that good, he's like, you could have a platform, you could have this. I was like, yes, but the time that it takes to get there, it'd be time away from the books, the podcast, all this stuff. So I feel like I'm on a quest right now. And in again, Lorenzo, I've only been able to understand my path right now because I have looked at the 80-year-old self so often that even though there's really, nothing to show for it on the external, my internal, I'm driving it so deep that I just know the stuff that, again, Lord willing, but it's like, I just know that the path that I'm on, I'm trying to, I want to give a lot of good to the world in terms of like knowledge. And there's so much that I see in terms of like our own modern day, like type of slavery that we have like up here in our own brain because of our beliefs, because of our stories and the stuff that I'm learning with, English, with narrative, with characters. I'm like, dude, like this is all us. The stuff that I'm learning with psychology, trauma, all this stuff is tying in spiritual. I'm like, bro, like this is stuff that like I would have loved to hear, because every time I have like a conversation with someone like about these things, there comes, oh bro, I've never heard it like that before. And I'm like, dude, it's not that these pastors or priests are wrong. It's just maybe they're only teaching the certain way that they know. Because I'm so open-minded and I listen to this, and this. And I'm like, bro, you guys are each all right, but you guys are excluding each other. And I'm like, just tie it all together. And that's for me what I feel like I'm on right now. And like you said, it's invaluable. It really is. It's priceless, because I'm like, dude, the stuff that I really hope to be sharing, and me, I want to put it all out there for free. And like, I want to do courses one day, but like, I want to do it all for free. I want to post it all online for free. If someone wanted like my time, that'd be like a different story, but like just knowledge, we just got to like share and help each other. So yeah, man, I know the quest that I'm on too. And it, like you said, it does feel like one of those just invaluable, because here's another thing I've taken, Lorenzo. Solomon tells us, get wisdom more than gold, get understanding more than choice silver, get these things. And he says, I forget where else he said it in Proverbs, but it was something along the lines of like, there's no greater delight than wisdom to the soul. And so I take these things literally. I really have. I've read over Proverbs so many times. I take these things literally. I'm like, okay, Solomon, one of the wisest, if not the wisest person I've lived, cannot Jesus, but I'm like, if what he's saying is true, that there's no greater delight than wisdom to the soul or something along those lines, I was like, I want to see that. I want to see that. Because, and I've made videos on this too, but I was like, think about this. Let's say someone's gifted $1 billion, right? They have every access to pleasure that they've ever wanted. You have many businessmen who've made it, and some of them say making money is the easiest thing in the world, which if you figure out the process, you realize it is.
Right.
You know who they are almost always not jealous of, because that's the wrong word, but like wish they had what that person has. It's a person who knows things. You can't take away what someone knows.
Yep.
You can take away money, you can take away material blessings, and literally, unless you cause like head trauma to make parts of their brain go bad, you can't take away what someone knows.
Yep.
And when all the knowledge is grounded in like faith,
Yep.
it's invaluable.
Yep.
Invaluable.
Yes, sir, man. I agree 100%, dude. Because you cannot, that wisdom, I think Solomon said that, and I feel it, man, because like now at your age, 22, you're not 23 yet, right?
But yeah, October.
Yeah, October. So October what?
7th.
7th? Okay, all right. I got a brother in October, but that wisdom, like you said, that knowledge and wisdom, person can't take it away from you. Material things they can, but if you harness and possess and keep the knowledge and the wisdom that enabled you to get those things, it's like you can act on that down the line. You can act on that down the line to help you through whatever situation. And that goes back to what you said, patience, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
You're wise about patience and how to use it and how to observe it in certain situations. It'll get you through.
Yeah.
Get you through. And you can share. And like you said, that's a gem, that's a jewel that you can share with the next person, and they can use it and it'll get them through whatever situation. So wisdom, and that's just a small example, however, but it lives on forever, dude.
It does.
It really does.
And it's like what Solomon says, it guides you. Like it really does guide you. And all the, I was reading on Thursday, and I forget what the first part of it, but I think it was like Proverbs 12:1 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But the second part of it was, whoever hates correction is stupid. Like that's how bluntly it put it. Whoever hates correction is stupid. And I was just laughing. I was like, she's like, it was almost like whoever loves instruction, something about loving instruction, but if you hate correction, you're stupid. And I was like, well, shoot, I guess I need to start loving correction, to I don't want to be no stupid fool, because that's one of the things I love about Proverbs. It's like, dude, if you read this book and if you study and if you like, at least, here's something that I said. I was telling people, I was like, okay, we read biographies as just like people. We read biographies all the time, right? Who do we read biographies of? People that we would consider accomplished, right? I said, just imagine this. We have a book from apparently the wisest person to ever live. Okay.
Yeah.
We actually have multiple in the Bible, but Proverbs in specific.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no one reads this stuff.
Right.
How can you say you want, any achievement at all? And here it's almost like a letter to you. Listen, my son, find these instructions around your neck. Keep them in your heart. Observe them daily. And here we'd rather read this person's, this person. And I'm like, dude, we have a king. We have a king who gave us like 30. I was just like, dude, we need to read this more. We need to read it more because that's
I agree, man. I agree. We make it so hard. We have the tools are right there,
They are.
Everywhere else to find it in history. It repeats itself, man. And it's like it's the history is already placed in, the only book that not necessarily, the only book that we need, the books that we need is multiple, but that wisdom and knowledge, before we even get to certain points are there. It's an instruction. It was sent down as a guide, there for play or for fun, like, or to separate us in any way. Well, I don't want to say that, but it was placed there to guide us, it's there. And like you said, we need to read it more. We need to observe it more, understand it more, and it'll make life so much easier, man. We spend so much, you see, what I said about time. I do. I read. I pray. I do. That's first in my life. I don't care what's going on. I can lose everything, but as long as I got that, I know that I'm grounded. I can hold myself up and hold people around me. However, man, if we just take the time to observe it, as a people, man, we'll be so much more ahead. We get fascinated by how fast the world is moving now, and that how many years it took, to get to that point, and how much research and everything we had to do just to be where we are today as humans. And if we just follow the simple instruction, we'll be good. Solomon, those guys, they were rich, man.
Dude, I forget where I've seen this before, but this was like a couple years ago too, but they were doing Solomon's net worth, and they were saying this thing was like 2.3 trillion. I was like, bro, who knows what it would be adjusted for, like inflation or whatever else. But I'm like, goodness gracious, like,
yes,
blowing these dudes out of the water and saying, oh, nice, you have $100 billion business. Oh, nice. I went, oh, nice. My net worth is even higher than that. It's like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
And not only that, he'd be wiser than all of them. Like, I love, I forget who the queen was, but the queen who came and questioned him and said, like, gave him all these riddles and, pretty much was like, look, your wisdom has far surpassed even what I've heard. And like, those are things when you just know these dudes are like the real deal. You're like, all right.
No. How many years did they live, honestly, though? Years, man. I know that were probably longer than ours. What do you think?
Before the flood, I think probably, but after the flood, I mean, I think it's in a psalm, but I think it's in a psalm, but it's like something like the years that you've given us are 70. And so I think they live 70, 80, 90, kind of like us. And then I think our darkest days were actually not too long ago when, people were, dying 30s, 40s, 50s with a lot of things. But I don't know. That's my perspective. I'm not as, well educated on that.
No. I just think about it, man, because those dudes had more than a lifetime worth of wisdom. It's just like.
Well, I'll tell you this. Look. I'll tell you this. I came across this the other day, and here's actually a point that I was going to make. So all throughout the Proverbs, it's like the beginning of wisdom, the beginning of understanding, the beginning of knowledge. Any of these, the beginnings of, they say, is the fear of the Lord, right? So it's like, okay, we need to have the understanding of like, okay, the fear of the Lord is the primary thing that we need to have. This is my screensaver. It says this. I love this. It's Psalm 119, 98 through 100. It says, you through your commandments make me wiser than my enemies, for they are ever with me. I have more understanding than all my teachers, for your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients because of your precepts. And I was like, here you have, I think this was a David. And I was like, here you have him saying, okay, he's wiser than his enemies. Why? Because of the Lord's commandments. I have more understanding than all my teachers because your testimonies are my meditation. I understand more than the ancients. So he goes, enemies, my present teachers, and then ancients, which ancients for him is even before, obviously, is because your precepts. And so everything that he's saying here in this is because your commandments, your testimonies are my meditations, and then your precepts. It's like, don't be fooled to think that there's wisdom outside the Lord. And I think this is what Paul talks about. Like, there is wisdom outside the Lord, but it's demonic wisdom. This earthly wisdom. That's why it's like, okay, you can be educated for your whole life and still miss it. And still miss it.
Yep. And 100%. You hit it right on the money, man. You
hit it right on the money. I'm only quoting the Bible.
Yeah. Sure. Sure. That's what it is, man. And
go ahead.
No, you go. No, I was gonna say, man, I believe that's what carries us, man. That's what allows us to maneuver through all these times, through all this stuff that goes on around us, man. Like I said earlier, right, in the dog-eat-dog world.
Mm-hmm.
But
I did notice you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what. And when I was writing it, I'm like, man, I'm talking at the top. I'm talking about wisdom. I'm talking about, going through trials and everything like that, and then to come back and mention dog eat dog, but at the top, the wisdom and all the trials that I've been through and beating the odds and weathering the storm. So weathering the storm, when I mentioned that that was patience, going through everything and learning patience, observing patience and persevering. That's what I meant by weathering a storm.
Yeah.
Doing all those things allowed me to, share it with my kids. So in times of hardship, or in times of hardship, they can display that and share that with me. My children, they give the love that I give to them. They remind my wife, she reminds me of patience and things, of that sort. But the Lord's teachings have allowed us to maneuver through these trying times in life, man. And the devil, he's at work, man, in this world on a day-to-day basis, man. But if you're equipped with all the tools, you'll be good, man.
Yeah. Something that I was telling my friend the other day, because my own parents included and multiple people. So I'm one of those people that's like, I'm willing to question anything. Like, I actually just posted a video last night saying, question every single belief that you have. And for me, I'm willing to question every single thing that runs through my brain. And I've kind of caught not some flack, but some serious, concern, I guess you could say, at some times from people, because I ask some bold questions, right? I ask some bold questions which have bold implications. And this is essentially what I've said all the time to the various people who ask me. It's this. The way that I see the journey I'm on right now, and this is what I was saying to my friend 2 days ago, and this metaphor just kind of came to my brain, but I feel like I feel like I'm in the sea, okay? The ship is simple faith, okay? I feel like I have a little rope attached around me, right? And I feel like I'm doing deep dives every day, okay? And I was saying this. I think when I go down into the abyss, into the dark waters, it's dark, so I'm exploring, unknown territory. Sometimes I find pearls and I bring them back. Other times you see a shark and you're like, hey, I gotta leave this place, You see a giant squid, you're like, I gotta go, take me back. And other times you may bring back like a puffer fish, thinking it's a pearl, but you're like, you don't realize that it's not the right thing. And I realize it's not a completely accurate example, right? But I said this to my friend. I said, look, at the end of the day, I come back to simple faith. In the morning, I'm still at simple faith, but I'm willing to go down and be wrong on some things, because you know what? I believe if I am following the Lord and keeping the simple faith, that at the end of the day, I really don't know a lot, and it's Jesus who's guiding it. I believe he's going to say, hey, hold on to the pearls, but hey, let go of the puffer fish. But that thing don't belong here.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'm actually sure that I'm probably going to be wrong on some of these things that, I'll believe for like a brief period, but I'm like, you know what? If I trust the Lord, I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. And, maybe some of them might be embarrassing, maybe not, whatever. But I was like, but I'm not going to stop taking the deep dives, because I want to know these things. And it doesn't come from a place of lack either. And that's what I'm trying to say to people, because, I think some of the stuff that I've considered, it can lead to madness. Which I think that's what Solomon had, by the way. Ecclesiastes, I think that was written at the end of his life. Proverbs was written, I think, earlier. But I was like, look, at the end of the day, if you just come back to simple faith, I believe that he's going to guide that. He's going to say, let go of these bad things. He's going to let me keep finding pearls every once in a while. But at the end of the day, you never leave simple faith. You're always attached to it, So that was the best way that I could describe the journey that I'm on right now. And for those people, it's like, makes sense. So,
no, it does, man, and I can picture it, dude. I can picture it. You gave a perfect example. So I definitely have the image in my mind. While you were saying it, I was just like putting all the pieces together. But
yeah,
anyone who doesn't understand it, they may. I don't want to say that they aren't holding on to simple faith, or they may have it inside, but they're not, returning to it. They're staying down deep. So some people, you said that some people, they didn't understand it, right? Or
Well, some people prior to me explaining it did,
Right.
but
Okay.
after, because this is the way that I kind of view it too. Now that I'm saying it, maybe this is why my subconscious thought of this, but it's like, look, the boat is a safe place, which is why 11 of the disciples stayed on it. But Peter said, hey, if you are, let me walk out. And he obviously walked out. And, we always talk about him sinking, took the eyes of the Lord, etc. But I was like, but he was willing to walk out, And, if you think about it, this brother, he not only fell in the water after he did that, he denied, and then Paul had to correct him later. But I was like, but one thing that you got to appreciate about Peter is his willingness. He was willing to look like a fool.
So was that faith?
Say what?
So when he ventured out, was that on faith?
Oh, completely, which is why he was able to stand. And then, every pastor draws it. But when you take your eyes off Jesus, then you're going to start sinking, but yes, actually that was, he showed the most faith, which is why he was able to, it's just like Jesus always rewards that with the people who come up to him from afar. It's like, look, my son this, my daughter this. And he's like, your faith, has made them well, and yada, yada, yada. So yeah, his initial thing was definitely out on faith.
Yeah.
For sure.
Woo. Some Jews here today, boy.
This is a good one. All right. We can wrap up now, but here's what I want to focus on for next week. You said that you need to spend more time, right, with the 70, 80-year-old self, get a little bit clearer. So before we move on to like anything else, here's what I want you to think about for this next week. Continue doing it for the 5 days, or you can do every day if you want, whatever works for you. But I want you to think about 3 things, okay? The skills that the 80-year-old you or 70-year-old you has.
What kind of skills? Just any skills?
You tell me.
All right.
Your subconscious will tell you.
Okay.
Okay, it'll guide you. Your habits, which, by the way, that doesn't mean the habits that the 80-year-old self has. Doesn't mean that you need to translate all those, because let's be real, it's going to be different lifestyles. But I'm talking about like the core ones, and you mentioned one. I always got to be in the Word. I always got to be praying. So things like that, like those type of core habits, I should say. Okay, think about the core habits, and then the type of knowledge. Because what you will find when you look at those 3 things, which is one of the goals of these exercises, is essentially you're going to reverse engineer. And meaning if your subconscious knows the ideal you and it's pulling you towards that picture, the clearer that you can get, not only on like the lifestyle, which is a lot of mainly what you talked about, and you had some symbolic language in there, which, by the way, the idea of sacrificing youth is so important, and you brought that up in your example, which was really, really good. But the more clear that you can get on the skills, the knowledge, and the habits, that will give your conscious brain a clear path on, okay, this is definitely the direction that I need to go. So those are 3 things that I want you to focus on. Continue doing the written exercises. You can keep the lifestyle, the symbolic language, all that stuff is good. You will see that continue to come out. But also just start to look at what he's doing, what he knows, and what his habits are. Okay.
All right. Perfect, man. I look forward to it, man. God's will, we meet again and get on top of this. You have a great week. I see that this conversation